Hello and welcome to MCPSS Athletics. My name is Calvin Chris, Athletic Director for Mobile County Public Schools. Studio today we have from Theodore High School, head football coach Eric Collier and girls varsity coach Terry McClure. And after this message, we'll be back with our guests.
Diesel is a very big industry, and I went into it in a 2-year program at the Bryant Career Tech with Tony Tillman.
When Jacob graduated from the Bryant Career Center, he had earned his diesel credential.
The Career Technical Center taught me a lot, all the way from not knowing anything about a motor or engine to knowing pretty much every single moving part of them.
MCPSS Career Tech. Start your future today.
The quality of education that I received from the Mobile County Public School System really prepared me for global success. Being an international opera singer, I get to travel all across the world. And one of the most important aspects about that is being able to communicate and work with people. And the Mobile County Public School System really equipped me to be greatly successful worldwide.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Welcome back to the studio. Our first guest today is Coach Collier, head football coach at Theodore. Coach, appreciate you coming by today.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Coach, how are things at Theodore High School this year?
Going well. We've got a good season going. Got a good group of boys that come in, work their butt off. We're 5-2 right now. Got a huge one Friday night. We got Foley coming in town. They just beat Murphy. We went over and watched the ball game. You know, great ball game. But again, you know, they'll come in and play at our place. It's going to be senior night for our kids. So we're looking for a good turnout. We'd love to see all our folks come out in town and get behind us. Going to be a good ball game.
Coach, how have your crowds been this year?
Really well. I was surprised at that. Coach McClure handles a lot of that for us, and again, you know, he tells me every Friday night. You know, a couple times we had to close down a parking lot and things like that. So it's really been good. So it's a blessing.
Coach, tell us a little bit about your career in the Mobile County Public Schools.
I'm getting old, Coach. I started years ago with Coach Beck, let me volunteer down at Alba. And I'd done that for a couple of years, and Billy Odom came in, and I finished up my degree, and Coach Odom hired me down there, and I worked for him for a couple of years, and he was a blessing. After that, you know, Coach Probst came in. I worked for Coach Probst for a couple of years. Was part of, you know, closing Alba and opening Bryant, and that was a task in itself.
Right.
But we got that done. I was down there for I think 11 or 12 years, a long time. But again, you know, finished that up out there. I was the head coach down there for 4 years. Came up here and ran the defense for 3 or 4 years, and Bill got out 2 years ago, and since then I've been the head coach down there. It's going good. Probably the best thing about Theodore is we got good boys. They come in, they work their butts off. They don't give us problems. So it's really been a blessing.
Coach, you've been very lucky there. Coach Odom, which is Mr. Organization, Coach Probst. Did you also work for Coach Lassiter?
I did.
I did. I mean,
Sure did.
How was it like working under these people? I know you learned a lot from them.
You know, Coach, I say this all the time. A lot of times coaches have to leave and go to different schools to learn things. And I've been blessed because I could sit there, you know, and I work for you know, Coach Odom's the most organized guy in the world.
He is.
He really is. Coach Beck's a player's coach. He taught me how to take care of the kids. You know, I look at Coach Lassiter. Coach Lassiter is probably the best athletic director I've ever been around. You know, he taught me a lot as far as, hey, it's not just about football. You know, you got to take care of those other sports too. So it was a blessing. I worked with Coach Faulkner. Probably the biggest lesson I ever learned in my life in football, I learned getting ready to play a Theodore Bryant game. And David Faulkner taught me that lesson is you know, you got to treat them kids just like they're yours.
Right.
But again, you know, Coach Probst is probably the best technician I've ever been around, but he was also a player's guy. He was going to take care of those kids. So I've been blessed. I really have. Joe Nettles, I work with Joe Nettles. Joe's probably the best disciplinarian ever been around. So I've been blessed because I was able to sit at different schools for a long time and really learn some things. Bill was great as far as, don't make things too big, too little. It's still a ball game. Go out, play the ball game, win, lose, or draw. Take care of your kids, get ready to play the next ball game. So I learned a lot from all of them, really have.
Coach, let's talk a little about that first year at Bryan. I know I was down at Alba, and I know there was such a big rival between Alba and Grand Bay. I mean, they really didn't like one another. How was it them coming together that first year? And it was an outstanding season. So how was that?
Well, we had to be creative. I'll never forget, we were getting ready to go to Marion, and you had Alba's kids. We were practicing down at Alba, so we were having to bus the Grand Bay kids to Alba to practice. So it was tough, and we had to be creative with some of the things we did, and thankfully Rush did a super job of handling that. And what I mean by being creative, I'll never forget, we're getting ready to go to Marion, and we're going to go up there for 4 days. And I remember him saying this, is we need to get them out of town so that we can bring them together as a unit. You don't have moms and dads hanging around. Right. It's just us and the players. Now, that was smart on his part. And I'll never forget sitting in those rooms for about 2 nights, and Rush did this. He said, look, I want an Alba kid with a Grand Bay kid. Make them live together. And that was smart because, once they've been together, and it did, 2 days into it, you could tell we were starting to come together as a unit. So again, and you said they still hate each other. Let me tell you, it's still not real good down there. I go to church down there, so I understand. But again, it was a unique time. It was a great time. It's some of the fondest memories of my life. Right. Some of the greatest kids I've ever coached came from that little area. So it was a blessing. It really was. And I'm going to tell you, Rush and Ed Lathan did a phenomenal job. And Rush gets a lot of credit. But, Coach, I'll be honest with you. Ed Lathan, some of the things he did, and he was on the cutting edge of a lot of things at that time. And now he'd hold you accountable too.
Exactly. I worked for him.
You better win.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit about your season. I know everybody wants to talk about your running back, but you've got a lot of good kids this year, don't you, Coach?
We do, and we're fortunate because a lot of them's young. So that's a blessing. But you look at us defensively. If you were to go out there and take a snapshot of our defense, you'd think, they're average. And I've had a couple coaches here in town tell me that as coach, your defense is very average. But those kids understand what we're trying to do. They know how to fit. They know where to fit, and they play together as a unit. They play hard and they're physical. So, and that's, I'd rather have that than 2 kids that are prima donnas and want to do it themselves. Our kids understand this. Go in there and lay in there and play, and take care of each other. In other words, make sure you fit where you're supposed to fit. CJ said it this past week. He was talking about playing this year in the NFL. He said it this week is, I'm just going to take care of my job. Right. And we preach that all the time, and we still preach that all the time, is take care of your job, and then all the rest of it take care of itself. And offensively, we got some good players over there. Got the running back, got the receivers. Our offensive line does a phenomenal job. Matthew Wells come in and work with them. They do a great job. This past week, 2 weeks ago, we played MGM, and they blitz you from everywhere. But Matt and them did a great job as far as just planning, and we've been blessed. We really have. And again, probably the biggest blessing is, the running back's back, the receivers are back. We look forward to finishing this year strong and also having a good offseason.
Well, good. Well, Coach, we're going to bring you back for our last segment. After this message, we'll be back with Coach McClure.
It started with me at Murphy High School when I came here as a freshman in 1973. I was very interested in math and science already before I came to Murphy. From Murphy High School, I was appointed to the U.S. Naval Academy, was able to get my college degree and also my commission in the U.S. Navy from the Naval Academy. But it truly was the foundation that I gained here at Murphy High School that allowed me to take advantage of that great opportunity.
Welcome back to our second segment. We've got Coach McClure here, who is the varsity girls basketball coach. And Coach, you also do freshman football.
Yes, sure do.
Sure do. Okay. It seems like if you're going to coach in this county, you got to do football somewhere or another.
And I'm in charge of the gates on Friday night for football. That might be the hardest thing to do.
I know. Coach, talk a little bit about your freshman football season.
Well, we had a poor start. Don't ask why. We have no idea. It's just one of those things. But we ended up great. We won our last three. We ended up 3-2. It's always great working with those young kids because you never know who the next C.J. Mosley is. You know, Ettrick Pruitt. You know, we can always talk about those stories. You know, those kids. They all started as freshmen, and they made something of themselves. So it's always wonderful to see them grow up and say, well, you know, I knew him back when. So whenever C.J. Mosley makes the Hall of Fame, if I'm still alive, I'll be able to say, you know, I knew him back when.
And you got him started on the right foot, didn't you, Coach?
Yes, sir. I tell you what, I take all the credit for that.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your career, and I'd love to hear you talk about it. You've been many places, won state championships. Let's talk a little bit. And we only got 30 minutes here.
Yeah.
So
well, you know, my first job I got, I was driving a truck for my daddy, fixing to go back to school, and somebody called me from a private school in Mississippi and offered me the job. And I said, Coach, you ain't interviewed. He said, I got to have somebody today. He said, So I went over there and I coached. I've never coached girls anything. I coached girls basketball over there, and I really liked it. So then after 1 year, I knew I had to move on, get to public school, and you know, start talking about your retirement. So I took a job in Florida, which was they were 0-72, I believe, when I took the job.
Gracious.
I'll never forget the coach said, I got good news and bad news. I said, what's that? He said, well, the good news is you got everybody coming back. The bad news is every one of them is coming back. So, but you know, we won the first game of the season, 52-34. And the next morning I run into Hardee's, we was in Atmore, and I was going to get the paper, and I opened up the sports page, and there was nothing there, and I go, golly, we didn't even make the sports page. And then the boys basketball coach handed me the front page of the Pensacola News Journal, and there we were on the front page.
That's great.
So, we made the USA Today blurb, and I got congratulations from everywhere. And like a fool, when Channel 3 came out and interviewed me, I said, well, we're supposed to win. That's what they paid me for. But we lost the next 10 in a row. So if that's what they pay you for, I probably owe them money.
That's great.
But then I went on and stayed in Florida for a while and got real lucky. Got fortunate. I coached at Ponce de Leon in 1989. We won the state championship with 32-0. Ended up being ranked in the top 10 USA Today. That was like a perfect storm for a school of 145 kids. I had 2 Division I players. I had 3 kids that signed Division II scholarships and another 2 that went junior college. So out of 7 kids out of a school of 140, they were all in juniors and seniors, and we were. That's just a perfect storm. The next year we went back to state finals and lost, and suddenly I wasn't a very good coach anymore, so I had to move on. I went to Jay, and Jay had never won anything at all, and we went to, and you know, I'm real close to those kids to this day, and they all talk about that first meeting we had, and I said, if you'll just believe in me, in 4 years we're going to compete to win the state championship. And I look back and think, oh, how stupid was I? You know, but those kids believed, and I was so lucky, and I'd be darned in 4 years, we won the state championship and come back and won the next one, and then we come back and win the state finals the next year. So we had a nice run at Jay. Then again, it was a situation where always grass is greener on those sides. Went down to Cocoa Beach, where I thought it would be a great place to raise my kids. My daughter was a tennis player. We were going to South Florida every week anyway, and that was just trying on my soul. That was the type of kid I've never coached before. I had kids that owned the islands in the Bahamas, not houses, but islands. I had 2 kids, so I was doing a different type of kid.
Right.
So Tony Combs called me in the middle of the year and said, "Hey, do you want the girls' basketball job at Theodore?" I said, "I'll do anything." My mom was sick, all my family lived in Mobile, so I came back and coached here for 4 years. Looked back and had a good year. Had 4 good years. Was real fortunate. Had probably the best talents come through Theodore. But it got to a point where I had to go get my last 4 years in Florida to retire. So I left and went back at those 4 years. And Coach Meredith I was just so fortunate that he hired me back, Mr. Rao, to teach math and coach girls basketball. And I'll be there now till I retire or die. I don't know which one's gonna come up first.
Coach, now, if y'all started practice, was it last week or today?
No, we'll start today.
Today, okay.
It would have been illegal if we'd done anything last week.
Okay, so I was trying to catch is what I was trying to do.
Certainly at Field High School, we do not break any rules. We try our best to stay within the boundaries. And if anybody ever wants to accuse the girls' basketball team of cheating, all they can do is look at our record and say, well, they're not doing a very good job of it.
Coach, what are your prospects this year?
We had everybody returning. 2 years ago, we had no varsity players returning. We had one of the best seasons we ever had at Theodore. And and 2 years ago, talk about just a hard year to go through. And then we had everybody returning. And then we had a nice year last year. It wasn't a great year, but it was a good year. We got a lot better. And we're really looking forward to this year. And lo and behold, our 3-year starter at point guard, the one kid that we could not afford to lose, we lost due to some unfortunate problems. And but we're so excited. We've got good athletes. We've got our best freshman kids we've ever had. We got a young lady that's named Alyssa Carson's a freshman that's going to be a tremendous player. She's also a softball player. In the past, I don't think we would have got her. We got a young lady, Caitlin Tate from Burns, and we've not gotten any kids from Burns. And this kid's going to be a heck of a player. So we're happy. We've got good athletes in the 9th grade. Now, we've had players before, but we've never had good athletes. So things are looking up.
Difference.
And we've got a good, solid senior class. We've got a really good junior, Alexis Casher, who I think is one of the better players in the county. If Alexis was 6'2", we'd win the state championship. She just plays as hard as anybody I've ever coached in my entire life. We're looking forward to it. I am. I can't wait to start practice day. I coach with Coach Roblin, and nobody coaches better than Coach Roblin. And it's just so much fun to be around people and just be excited to be there at school. And we're both excited about getting ready to go today. I just can't wait. I'm so blessed that you guys at the county run things so we don't have to coach freshman football a week into the season.
Right.
Coach Collier's taking care of that. We
good.
appreciate that. And because Tony Combs would tell me stories about having to practice freshman football and then get off at 5 and then practice varsity basketball from 5 to 7 for 3-4 weeks.
Right.
And he said, you talk about trying, and I can imagine it'd be very trying.
Happened to me and Pete Smith. We had about 3 weeks overlapping. It was always tough. So after this message, we'll bring Coach Collier back and we'll finish up.
Smartboard, that's right.
So, Nicholas, how was your day at school today?
It was great. We had fun in class today.
So, what did you do differently today at school? I mean, any new projects?
We got a progress report today.
You got your progress reports today? So, how did you do?
Don't know.
You don't know. That's okay. We can check that right here. Wow. Nicholas.
I'm Ashley Rich, Mobile County District Attorney. The failure to obey school bus safety laws will cost you. It can cost you up to a $3,000 fine and the loss of your driving privileges.
But more than that, it could cost the life of a child. That's why the Mobile County Public School System is urging you to stop and obey all bus traffic laws.
Hi, I'm Pat Mitchell, Director of Transportation for the Mobile County Public School System. We're asking you to obey all bus safety laws. It could save a life. Remember, stop ahead when you see red. Our future depends on it.
Welcome back to our last segment. We brought Coach Collier back. And Coach, first thing I want to ask you about is your region, how it's stacking up. We're into I believe it's the 9th week. We got, of course, 11 weeks this year, but talk a little bit about your region.
Fairhope's out in front of everybody right now. They're 5-0 in the region. Baker's sitting there 5-1. We're 3-2. We got a big one this week, and I'll be honest with you, Coach. Biggest thing I look at is our next opponent. I don't get caught up in you know, where everybody else is at. I know this. Me and Terry talked about it coming up here. We just got to take care of our business, you know. And I tell our kids that all the time. Is the biggest one is the next one, and Foley is huge. Foley's a huge ball game. Then we got McGill after that. So bottom line is this: we're gonna take care of Foley. So, you know, that's kind of the way we look at our region. Is yeah, Fairhope's out there. Baker's playing well. Murphy's playing well. You know, but again, bottom line is this: we want to take care of Theodore. You know, if we come out and play well against Foley, if we get fortunate there and come out of there with a win, go play McGill. You know, so we just look forward to our next opponent, and that's Foley.
I think this year, when we look at it, used to there was between your top echelon and the bottom there was a difference, but man, you've got those that are at the bottom. They can come up and beat you. I mean, it's tough every week.
It is, and I mean, Coach, it's like the SEC. I'm
is.
telling you. And what's crazy is, you know, if we had this record last year, we'd already be in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
It would already be done.
Right.
But again, we're in a 9-team region, and every week is do or die.
It's tough.
So again, that's what I don't get hung up in down the road stuff. I just preach to our kids is we got to get ready for the next one.
Coach McClure, talk a little about your area this year.
Well, Davison's a perennial favorite. You know, Charlie does a good job. They got a great player over there. Plays so hard. I'm just so jealous that we don't have her because I love the way she plays.
Mm-hmm.
They should be good. Bryant has had one of the better JVs in the last couple of years, and those kids are there, but they lost a whole lot, and it's a big difference between JV and varsity. Mary Montgomery, the coach, they're trying to, you know, they're rebuilding over there, trying to get people excited about basketball at Mary Montgomery. It's so hard for the county schools. You know, the city schools have no idea what we go through. We don't have boys and girls clubs to take care of it. We don't have city rec programs, and girls don't play unless you set it up. Baker's got a new coach. He's excited. You know how young coaches are. They're so excited. They'll be a lot better. But, you know, I don't really worry about everybody else. I just worry about us.
Right.
If we play hard and do what we're supposed to do, we're going to win.
Right.
And we're going to win the area. If we don't do what we're supposed to do, then we're not going to win the area. But I'll be disappointed if we don't win the area. But now that's just me. You know, because you got two things to think about. You can think about losing all year. You can think about winning all year. I'd rather think about winning all year.
Right.
And I told our kids, I look at our schedule and say, you know, guys, if we'll just take care of our business, then we'll be okay. And our girls have never advanced to Dothan, and this is a great chance for them to go. And again, last year we spent so much more money on the boys. I just can't wait to go to make sure we spend that much money on the girls. You know, so we're going to make them write a good check out of that.
I hear you. That's
you
the
know,
way
but,
to do it.
And I got to say this too. If you guys want to see a great player, come watch our boys basketball team play. I believe this guy's going to be in the NBA one year. He is the most exciting player I've ever seen in 36 years coaching high school basketball. You know, Deshaun Ingram, you know. So if you've got nothing to do, if you want to show up a little bit early, watch the girls play, we'd certainly enjoy it. But come out and watch that boy play because you will see somebody really special. And he'll be in the SEC here in a couple of years, and he'll be starting at Alabama next year.
Yeah. Coach, let me ask this question. Basketball is such a long season. I always said I think it's probably the longest season of any sport. With the holidays thrown in there, how do you keep your kids, I guess, up through all this 3 or 4 months that you got to go through? Do you hit a snag? And I know one of the worst things was the holidays. You know, you get there and in basketball, you got everything set up, and then you got 8 that shows up. You know, so it's tough, and a lot of times it's rides trying to get there. But how do you keep your team fresh the whole year? What is your approach?
Well, you know, one thing, we don't ever go on weekends. I've practiced one Sunday in my entire life. I was told we had to leave on Monday to go to state tournament. Never go on Saturday. Try to give those kids those time off. During the holidays, you got to give them off. You know, it's tough on their legs, but also I've seen teams, and you can't answer the question because I've seen teams that didn't play over the holidays and come out really refreshed and go and make a great run and go and do something real well in the playoffs. I've seen teams that just played right on through the holidays and didn't give their kids any break and they also did the same thing. So there's not a real answer to that. You know, I like to give them a couple days off Christmas. It is family time.
Exactly.
And it should be family time. I've never understood these coaches who practice on Christmas Eve or even on Christmas afternoon. But we try to play in a holiday tournament somewhere. Because if I was a player, I wouldn't want to practice after Christmas. Now, I don't mind playing, but I don't know. So we try to play in a holiday tournament.
That's a good idea.
And the first game of the holiday tournament is always going to be the worst basketball you've ever seen in your life. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter how good they are. It's going to be the worst. And last year we had a young coach, Travis Williamson, and Travis is a throwback to somebody who can coach everything. He coaches football, baseball, and basketball theater. And we were playing so bad in that first game, and he was so upset. I said, Coach, look how bad they're playing. It's just what you have to deal with. They stink and we stink. Now tomorrow will be a little bit better. But yeah, that layoff, that's what you.
That's true. Coach Collier, we got about a minute. Have you heard from CJ? Well, you know, one of the best athletes to come out of Mobile with Baltimore Ravens. Now, have you heard from him lately?
Yeah, we'll text each other a good bit, you know, throughout the week. I'll say that.
Did you still keep up with Bobcat football?
Yeah, he does. You know, him and Jamie both, and Jerry Gibson. You know, I'll get texts from them, and you know, they keep again. And I tell you, the Seymour TV thing, they watch us on TV on Friday nights. They sure do. So they'll always text me and say something encouraging. You know, of course, Jamie texted me a couple weeks ago and said, Coach, that linebacker's got to run through that running back so he can't run the screen. So I enjoy them.
And they're both such great people and all, and we're fortunate enough to have them come through our system.
We are, Coach. They're a blessing to us.
Listen, I appreciate both y'all coming. I know it's the first day of the quarter, but thanks for coming, and good luck on your season, and good luck the rest of the year.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.